everybody. Welcome to another 5-Minute Stories with Miss Ashley. Today I'm going to tell you a story called Too Noisy, and I'm going to use some sign language to tell it to you. Now, we've already learned the sign for spider, right? Take one hand, put it on top of the other, and wiggle our fingers as we crawl up and down spider. Yes, I'm going to teach you a couple more. So in our story, we have a haunted house. So haunted, it's haunted. So there's gloom over your head, haunted, and then house. Just make a house over your head. Haunted house. Good job. And then for ghost, you know how you say the letter G in sign language? We're just going to pinch that ghost with our letter G and pull it up. Ooh, ghost. Yes, good job. And we have a wise old owl in our story too. So owl, we take our owl eyes like this, and then we just wink them back and forth like this. Owl. Good job. So in our story, we have a little spider, and she thinks that her haunted house is too noisy. And for noisy, we're going to make the sign. For loud, we're going to point to our ear, and then someone's banging on our eardrums like that. Loud, noisy, too noisy. Good. Oh, and here we go. And the reason that this spider thinks that that haunted house is too noisy is because of the ghosts. We have daddy ghosts going, oh, and mama ghosts going, oh, and baby ghosts crying, boo, boo, boo. And the little spider said, oh, my haunted house is so noisy. I'll go to the wise old owl. He'll know what to do. And she sets off, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, to the wise old owl's tree. And when she gets there, she says, Mr. Wise Old Owl, my haunted house is very noisy. Can you help? And the wise old owl says, go back and put some bats in the house. And the little spider says, okay, you're the wise old owl. And she goes back to her house, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl. And when she gets there, she puts some bats up in the attic. And they hang from the rafters going, ee, 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 ee. And the daddy ghost groan, whoa. And the mama ghost moan, whoa. And the baby ghost cry, boo, boo, boo. And the little spider said, wow, this haunted house is really noisy. I'll go back to the wise old owl. He'll know what to do. And she crawled back to his tree, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl. And when she got there, she said, Mr. Wise Old Owl, my haunted house is still very noisy. Can you help? And the wise old owl said, go back and put some black cats in the house. And the little spider went back to her home, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl. And she let some cats into the living room. And the cats yelled, meow. And the bats screeched, ee, 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 ee. And the daddy ghost groaned, oh. And the mama ghost moaned, oh. And the baby ghost cried, boo, boo, boo. Oh, and the haunted house was so noisy. The little spider said, I'll go back to the wise old owl. I hope he'll know what to do. So she goes back, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, to the wise old owl's tree. And when she gets there, she says, Mr. Owl, my haunted house is so noisy. Can you please help me? And the wise old owl says, go back and put some witches in the house. And the little spider says, witches? Are you sure? And the wise old owl says, yep, witches. So little spider says, okay, you're the wise old owl. And she goes back, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, to her haunted house. And she puts some witches in the kitchen. Oh, and the witches cackled, and the cats yelled, meow, and the bats screeched, ee, 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 ee. And the daddy ghost groaned, whoa. And the mama ghost moaned, whoa. And the baby ghost cried, boo, boo, boo. And the little spider said, oh, my haunted house is so noisy. I can't hear myself think. I'll go back to the wise old owl. I hope he knows what to do. And so she crawled back, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl. And when she got to the wise old owl's tree, she said, Mr. Wise Old Owl, my haunted house is so noisy. What should I do? And the wise old owl said, "Go back and take out the witches and take out the black cats and take out the bats." And the little spider said, "Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I'll do." And she goes back, creepy crawl, creepy crawl, creepy crawl. And she sends the witches back to their cauldrons. And she sends the cats back to their homes. And she sends the bats back to their trees. But the daddy ghost still groan, "Ooh," and the mama ghost still moan, "Ooh," and the baby ghost cried, "Boo, boo, boo." And the little spider said, "My haunted house is just right." And that's the end of the story. Isn't that a cute one? It wasn't too noisy at all till you added all those other things. Stay tuned for our literacy tip. And here is your literacy tip for this week. This story is fun to act out and introduces children to dramatization. You can narrate the story and have your child say the lines or make the sounds and act out the characters' movements. Dramatization is not only fun but educational. As they retell the story, kids demonstrate an understanding of sequence, setting, characters, problem solving, and resolution. Try telling this story in a group setting during a play date or family night. Switch the roles around and watch the children problem solve as they collaborate to tell the story. You may be pleasantly surprised. Happy reading!